Hi everyone, I am back in my greenhouse this morning. It is like a whopping 20 degrees outside, so I'm very excited to be able to talk a little bit about the seeds I'm excited to try for this year, 2023. I'm dreaming about that garden I'm going to be planting in just a couple months while it's absolutely frigid here in upstate New York. So I want to show you my plan for this year, show you the planter that I'm using, the system I'm using, and a couple different varieties of seeds that I've never grown before that I'm excited to give a try this year in our garden. So the planting system I'm using this year is similar to what I used last year. Last year for Christmas, my mother-in-law had bought me a planter like this one here, and I decided to use it for all my garden planning needs. So this year she bought me another one, and I decided to do the same. Gives me a little something to do when it's frigid outside, and I'm going through all of my seed catalogs deciding what I want to do this year and what I want to try. So what I like to do is I take this planter, and it's similar to any planter that you can find at the store, and I go through and I just modify it, and I put down different varieties of seeds I'm planning on trying this year, what I want to do, and I put down any pertinent information to the varieties I plan on trying. So for tomatoes, as you can see, I have quite a few varieties. This helps me to visually see how many I want to grow this year. So when I start the seeds, I have kind of a vision in my head of I can't fit 100 different types of tomatoes and plants in our garden. So if I want to try all these varieties, I really can only grow a few of each. So it helps kind of keep that visual reminder for me just how many seeds I'm going to be starting when the time comes. So what I like to do is I just write down all that I plan to grow and the varieties of seeds. I do this for my flowers and herbs as well, so I can visually see everything I want to do. And then what I'll do is I will go to the specific dates in my planner, kind of the month overview, and I will put in when I should be planning to start certain things. And then when that day comes and I actually start whatever it may be, I go and I write in the detail for that specific day in kind of that section of the planner. So I'm logging what I'm doing, I know exactly what I'm starting things, and then what I can do is the following year, I have the previous year as a reference. So it's a little easier year after year transferring your plans from one planter to a next. And all you really change up are the seed varieties that you're using for that particular year. And you can also use the planner to log how a specific variety does for you throughout the growing season. So it really does come in handy. I put in here when I plan to start certain seeds indoors or in the greenhouse. And also if I'm sowing something like direct sowing peas right into the soil, I put that over here too, and I just color it a different color so I can clearly see everything in green is when I'm starting indoors. Everything in red I'm sowing directly into the soil. And yellow means I'm actually planting something I started indoors, which for this particular one are my onions and shallots. So it's really visually I can see what I need to do, and it gives me something to do when it's wicked cold outside and I can't really do much else outside the house. What I do then is I take what I've planned here and I put it into a picture. Now this I did last year too. I basically have a template of what our garden area looks like, and I'm able to go in and I fill in, I color in, I label where I want to put the plants, flowers, herbs, whatever it may be in our garden space. This again helps me stay on track, so I'm not starting thousands of seeds and have nowhere to put them. I know how much space I have, and I know from experience how much space each plant needs. And I know that when I try to put too many things in one spot, it just hampers those plants' ability to grow to their full potential. So having a visual really does help keep my plans in line and to have a more successful garden. Now that I've kind of shared how I like to plan out what seeds I'm going to grow and what plants I'm planned to grow throughout the season, I'm going to share with you the seeds I picked for this year for just a certain things. Mostly I want to share with you what I'm excited to try that's new to me. So actually a few of these varieties are, pretty popular or common varieties, but I myself have just never tried before. And by reading about other people's success with them, I'm ready to give them a shot in our garden. This year, when I chose seeds from all these seed catalogs, it's really hard to not want to buy everything. There's a lot of pretty and beautiful, vegetables, flowers, herbs, and you can spend a small fortune, really. But this year, I really focused on buying varieties that were known to grow well in this area, Zone 5B, upstate New York. I looked for disease resistance because in the end, having a plant that will flourish and has known to have a resistance and help it to grow better, to me, just makes the gardening experience that much more joyful when you're not combating disease or pests, So I really was looking for good disease resistance. I also was looking really for plants that are meant to grow in this specific climate. We're in the Northeast. We have a relatively shorter growing season here. It's about 110, 120 days, depending on what source you look at. So I don't want to purchase seeds for that's going to take 140 days to get the harvest. Well, because in our climate, that's not going to pan out well. We just don't have enough days in the growing season to accommodate that sort of plant. So I really started to hone in on this details of the seeds when I'm looking through these catalogs. Rather than saying, oh, that just looks really pretty, I'm going to get that. I'm like, okay, that looks pretty, but is it also going to grow well here in our garden? Now, this year I ordered from quite the variety of different places. I did Botanical Interests. I did Baker Creek. You can see all the Post-its I put in. Those were kind of like my, ooh, that's pretty, let's go back and look at it at the end and make sure everything actually, would grow well here. I did Seeds and Such, and I also did Totally Tomatoes. Now, I ended up getting through Seeds and Such and Totally Tomatoes some hybrid varieties. And in the past, I really haven't purchased many hybrid varieties. Not that I have anything against them, but I also know that you can't really save the seeds from them should I choose to save seeds. It's just with the hybrid variety, you're just not able to do so, whereas with an heirloom variety, it's rather easy to save those seeds. You'll see in some of my seed choices that I actually chose a hybrid over maybe an heirloom. And that would be specifically because of either some disease resistance or just making it a variety that is better for our particular climate or zone. I also ordered through M.I. Gardener as well. He doesn't have a catalog. So I did order through M.I. Gardener, got lots of herbs and a couple other things through him too. So I'll be showing you those varieties as well. Let's start with tomatoes. And I'm only going to share 3 of the varieties that I'm excited because otherwise you'd be here all day listening to me ramble. So the first variety I got through M.I. Gardener, and this is Champagne Bubbles tomato. So this is like a little mini cherry tomato. It's got really good disease resistance and heat tolerance to it. It is indeterminate and it's very sweet. And I noticed last year I grew a similar white, like a grape tomato, cherry tomato, and it was so sweet. It was probably one of the better cherry tomatoes I've ever grown. So when I saw champagne bubbles, I wanted to give that a try. It sounded really good. Another one is the Hungarian heart. It's dual purpose. However, I've heard really good things about the Hungarian heart for canning purposes. You know, it's got it's a large ox heart style tomato. It's very meaty. You know, they can get to about a pound or more. And I mean, it just looks like an outstanding tomato to me. So I'm excited to try the Hungarian heart and the Soldaki tomato as well. So the Soldaki tomato, this one is like a beefsteak red style tomato, great flavor, a heavy yielder. It's a Polish heirloom variety, and I've heard, you know, you can use it as a dual purpose tomato, but I do believe that Soldaki is known for like being a really good slicer. Something you'll probably want to put on a tomato sandwich or something like that. So for beans, I particularly like growing beans and different types of beans, whether they're bush style or a pole bean. I don't know, there's something really pretty about beans, and I actually love shelling beans and peas. I don't know why. I find it very calming. I find it very relaxing. So while you can buy a bag of really cheap dried beans at the store, there's something about you know, shelling your own dried beans and putting them up on the shelf to use in soups and stews through the winter. They're beautiful, they have great flavor, and honestly, I just love sitting down and with a big bowl of beans and shelling them. I can't explain it, it's just something I like to do. So this year, this one I'm not going to be shelling. This is a contender, the contender variety of bean. This is a bush bean, and it is known for being producing earlier than other varieties of beans. So you'll get about a 6 to 8 inch stringless bean here that you can use for canning, fresh eating. It does good early in the season when the temperatures are maybe a little cooler, and it can also grow well even through the hot part of the summer. So overall, this one I'm excited to try. I've heard really good things about contender. So this is one of the bush beans I'll be growing this year. And one that I'm going to be doing for shelling is the French horticultural. So this one you can grow, and it'll take about 64 days till it gets to the point where you can shell them. Or if you want it to completely dry before picking it, it would take about 90 days to sit on the plant and dry out completely. The French horticultural bean is known to be very hardy, heavy yielder, disease resistant, really good flavor, and easy for shelling. So I'm giving the French horticultural bean a try for that purpose. And now for peas, because I like shelling so much, I'm actually going to grow shelling peas this year, along with snow peas and snap peas. But one that I'm looking forward to is the Maestro shelling pea. So this one will mature within 61 days. It is considered an early shelling pea. You get these like 4-inch pods, and they have about 8 to 10 large peas within each pod. And the Maestro is known for being disease resistant too. So that was another reason why I liked that. 2 carrot varieties this year that I'm giving a try. One is the Sugar Snacks 54. Sugar Snacks is a hybrid variety. This one is good for fresh eating. It's also disease resistant. And it's known to have kind of a sweet and mild flavor profile. And it will give you about 10 to 12 inch long carrots. So this one sounded really good to me. And another one, so this one is the new Kuroda carrot. So this one, just like the sugar snacks, is good for summer or fall planting, which is nice. You don't have to wait till end of summer to plant these to have them grow out in fall. You can actually do your spring or your fall harvesting on both of these varieties, which I thought was really nice. This is another hardy breed that is really good. It can grow well in tough soil. Even in the really hot days, it does well. So it has kind of a sweet flavor, just like the sugar snacks carrot as well. So those carrot varieties I'm excited to try. One of the onions I'm doing this year, along with shallots, this onion is a hybrid. It is a Patterson onion. This one is a long day onion, which for our growing area is what we want. Short day onions would be more for like the like farther south, the southern states. So up here in the Northeast, we would want long day onions. So this is the Patterson hybrid variety. It'll take about 110 days till you can harvest your onions, and it's also a good storage onion. And these are going to be starting in just a few weeks, so excited. I'm excited. I'm always excited to start the onions because that's like the first thing you get to start. Potatoes. I don't normally grow potatoes from seed, but I read about Clancy. These are Clancy potato seeds. Okay, you are going to start Clancy potato seeds just like you would your tomatoes. And you would transplant them out after your last frost, right? Like your tomatoes. So with the Clancy potatoes, they're going to give you small, about 3/4 inch to 1.5 inch potatoes. And the color is going to be kind of like a rose gold to a gold. And they will give like a yellow to white flush on the inside. They're kind of like round fingerling potato, heavy yielder. You will want to, if you want to increase the amount of potatoes you get, you could hill them up like you would a regular seed potato to increase the yield of potatoes. And you can pretty much harvest these potatoes just like any other. After they have flowered, you can start harvesting, or keep letting them go until the end and then harvest then. So I'm excited to see how the Clancy potato does growing from seed. I'm so used to using seed potatoes. So it's something a little different. It'll be a cool experiment. All right, now as far as peppers go, that's always one thing that I start early. Both bell and hot peppers. They take a long time typically to mature and provide the fruit. So normally I do start my peppers mid to late February. And by the time they go out in May, I have some pretty substantial sized peppers going on with flowers and everything. And that's just to ensure that I actually get some decent peppers for salsa and whatnot. This year, when I chose the pepper varieties, I really focused on days to maturity and disease resistance. So you'll notice I really stuck to some hybrids here. Now what I did is I got the King Arthur hybrid. This one will mature within 62 days, gives you high yields. You'll get the green pepper that will slowly turn to red. The fruit's extra large, very sweet, has good disease resistance as well. The plants on the King Arthur are about 22 inches tall, so they're pretty compact and would be good for even a small garden. And then another one that's similar is the Trifecta. Now, this again will give you extra large peppers that will start green, turn red. This one actually matures between 50 and 65 days. So 50 days will give you those green peppers, and then 65 days will give you the red. And this is also disease resistant. So that's really these early maturing varieties that I'm looking for, because in our growing season, that just makes more sense. For hot peppers, two that I'm trying this year. One is the Bulgarian carrot pepper. Now, this one was intriguing because the past couple seasons grown these Sugar Rush peach jalapenos. They are so good. They make a fabulous hot sauce, and they're great in salsa, but they take forever to mature. I feel like they're just sitting out in my garden all summer, and then they start to turn that beautiful shade of peach. So while I still like those, and I will probably grow them, in maybe another year, this year I wanted to try the Bulgarian carrot. This one is an heirloom variety. This is not hybrid. It will give you 3.5-inch fruit. It's got like a fruity, pungent, intense, medium spicy heat to it. To me, this sounds like a really good, I don't want to say replacement, but something similar to a Sugar Rush peach jalapeno maybe. And it matures in 65 to 68 days. So that's, pretty good, and that's pretty early. Another one I'm trying, this one is a hybrid. This is the Sweet Heat. It's a bell pepper, okay? So this isn't a jalapeno, it actually is a bell pepper, but it's Sweet Heat. This one matures in 56 days, and it has kind of a sweet, mild, and smoky flavor palette to it, kind of described as like a pepperoncini-like pepper. Very prolific, will turn from green to red, and it also is a pretty compact plant. It really only gets to be about a foot tall. So, again, for a small garden, this could be a good variety for you. With melons and watermelons, again, I had to look for varieties that were earlier maturing. Some varieties, take some over 100 days, and that's just too long for our area. One variety that really intrigued me was the Royal Golden Watermelon. This one matures in 80 to 85 days, and when it's mature, the rind turns yellow. So there's no mistaking whether or not it's ripe and mature. It will tell you, and to me, that's kind of cool. I don't like second guessing and wondering and waiting and then having a watermelon rot out on me because I waited too long, or picking it and it have no flavor because I picked it too soon. So I thought that was kind of cool to try. It's got the pink reddish flesh to it. The watermelon itself can be anywhere between 8 and 25 pounds. And just has an overall really good flavor. Now, as far as like a cantaloupe or a muskmelon goes, I decided to try the Aphrodite hybrid. This one matures in 75 days. It's got a very sweet muskmelon flavor to it. Shorter vines than most, so you don't have to have a massive garden to grow it. The vines are going to be much shorter than other varieties. Very hardy and disease resistant as well. Or to wrap up kind of the vegetable portion of my seeds, the cucumbers that I decided to do this year. This one is the Garden Sweet Burpless Hybrid. This one matures in 55 days. It will give you about 10 to 12-inch cucumbers, and those cucumbers are burpless and bitter-free. This one you can use as a slicer or for pickling, and it's got very good disease resistance to it. And one that I did solely for pickling is the Quarantine Hybrid. This one matures in 45 days. It's extra early. Most varieties will not mature that early, which is nice. You get kind of an early harvest of good pickling cucumbers. This one is a European gherkin style cucumber, burpless, seedless, excellent disease resistance, and this particular variety does not require cross-pollination. So if that's something you're looking for, the quarantine hybrid might be a good variety for you. As far as kind of herbs go, I have a couple different varieties that I'm trying this year. Now dill, I didn't realize there were so many varieties. I'm going to try the fern leaf dill. This one only gets to be 6 to 8 inches tall, and it's rather compact, and so it's really good for container planting if that's what you like to do. You get really abundant foliage, and it is considered the slowest bolting dwarf dill variety. So when it bolts, that's when it goes to flower and to seed, right? And so when you're making pickles, sometimes you only want the foliage. I mean, I use all of the dills. I don't really care. But, if you want just the foliage, this one is slow to bolt and produce seeds and flowers. Also, it's short, which kind of makes it nice, for container planting if that's what you so choose. And then another dill variety I'm trying is the Ducat. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This one actually produces really large, lush foliage. You get more so from this variety than maybe others. It's very mellow flavor. It can get to about 3 feet tall, so keep that in mind. It's not like the fern leaf. Definitely will produce a lot of foliage before it decides to go to seed and to bolt. So that's really nice. I like to do a lot of pickles. So having an abundance of dill is very important, of course. I'm going to be trying the Newton basil this year, along with other varieties, of course. But this particular one, the Newton variety, is fusarium resistant, which is a disease. It produces very large leaves and has kind of that classic basil flavor to it. So if you're looking for maybe a disease-resistant variety, the Newton basil would probably be really good to try out. Also, because I make a lot of salsa verde with the tomatillos, I'm going to try the Santo cilantro. And through my research, I was finding that this is very slow to bolt. Cilantro, it can go to seed and flower very quickly when it gets hot out. So this Santo cilantro would be very good for, if you want it to slow that down a bit. It's slow to go to seed and to flower. So you can get those leaves a little bit longer. It's a high yielder, really good flavor as well. And last for the herbs that I'm excited about, I got this lemon mint. Beautiful looking flower. So from the description, it's not a true mint, but it has this bright lemony scent, and you can use the leaves, raw, dried, cooked as a seasoning, and well, it looks so pretty. So I'm excited to try that. That might end up in my herbal tea garden. We'll have to see. Last up for my seeds that I'm excited to try would be the flowers, and this year I have a couple varieties that I'm going to be trying, new. And one is this buckwheat. So this is rose red soba buckwheat. And it will take you about 6 to 8 weeks for you to get some blooms. But it's a rare pink variety. It's an ornamental buckwheat. It's deer resistant, it's drought tolerant, and very hardy. It is a low maintenance perennial, which is pretty cool. So you can eat the seeds, but you would want to wait until full maturity before harvesting the seeds of the buckwheat. Also really good for bringing in any beneficial insects. All right, I'm probably gonna massacre this name, but this is Celosia. Don't know if I'm saying that right. But this is the Asian garden variety, and it is just beautiful. So this one is an all-purpose variety, really brings in lots of pollinators. It's got a bushy habit, and it's actually used in teas or pink lemonades, and to give kind of like that really pretty pink hue to them. So I figured, why not? This might end up in the herbal tea garden. And next is the pink dandelion, which last year. I know this was a big hit. Lots of people were trying it. And I heard, people had some pretty good success with it. So this is actually a perennial. Takes 40 to 60 days. And you can eat the leaves, the blooms, the roots. They're all edible. And supposedly the pink variety is less bitter than the standard variety of dandelion. You're going to bring in lots of pollinators with dandelion irregardless. So, I mean, this is just a really pretty addition, and, might be able to harvest from it as well as, providing for all the awesome pollinators. This one is lavender. This is the Elegance Pink Lavender. And this is a perennial, and it is winter hardy in zones 5 through 7, okay? You're going to get a really nice lavender fragrance from it, and it's a very compact plant with gorgeous little blooms on it. This, I actually already have some seed in my refrigerator. You are going to start these seeds by putting them on a damp paper towel in a Tupperware dish or a bowl for about a month in your fridge, and you just let it be. And then you will follow the rest of the instructions on how to start it. So don't forget to do that, kind of a cold stratification method for your lavender. This is a little different. This is a money plant, okay? And it's called Honesty. And I found this plant to be extraordinary. It is a biennial, okay? So I'm going to start this seed this year, and it should flower for me next year. So a little patience with this one, but it looks really, really cool. The flowers will, there'll be these flowers, and then you get these like little silvery pods too. Something a little different. It is hardy in zones 5 through 9 and deer resistant as well. So we're gonna give that a try. So I'm gonna try actually growing poppy this year in poppy seed. This is the Hungarian blue poppy seed to get, the poppy seed that you can, use in baking and things like that. And it's also a very beautiful, beautiful flower. Bees really like this flower. It isn't annual, but it self-sows, so that's kind of a perk. Drought tolerant and deer resistant, so this one's going to be pretty cool to do. This painted daisy, just the beauty on it, the colors, and I can just imagine the pollinators it will bring in. It is a perennial in zones 3 through 7. Just really pretty. This is the Robinson's Blend Painted Daisy. Lastly, this one's a little different. This is called Pumpkin on a Stick. I thought this was pretty cool, pretty clever. It's actually not a pumpkin, not a true pumpkin. It's an 1800s ornamental eggplant. I would have never thought. Apparently, in Asian cuisine, they eat this, and it's like kind of like a bitter fruit in their cuisine. For ornamental purposes, though, you can dry these and use them in floral arrangements or, decorations. It does take about 65 to 70 days after transplanting to get them. I just thought that was really neat. Pumpkin on a stick. So the kids will probably get a kick out of it too. I hope the seeds that I showed you maybe inspired you to try something new in your garden this year, or maybe learned a little something about the seed varieties that I chose. It's always fun to try something new and, see what works for you in your climate, in your zone, and have a little fun kind of dreaming about what your plan is for this upcoming gardening season. So thank you all so much again, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.